We have to be in that mode where we believe in them. Please don't ever give up on your spouse, on your wife, on your husband. Believe in them. Well, they've said this 10 times, so it's a little hard to believe. Come on, really? This is your partner. This is someone you're in covenant with, someone you love. Well, I'll believe when I see it. Then you're probably never going to see it. Faith begins at the end of belief.
Welcome to the Man Maker Show. This is where weak excuses die and men of all ages are held accountable to rise stronger, bolder, and fearless. Grit, ambition, and authenticity are not optional. They are the price you pay to become the man you are meant to be. If you are ready to face the fire, take charge, and own your future, then your journey starts here. And now your host, Brad Wolgamott.
Welcome to the Man Maker Show. How you doing, B-Rad? Coming to you once again from Studio Cabo. I hope you guys are doing great. Sorry, I seem to have this endless cold the last number of months, so I appreciate you guys putting up with my coughing and my nasally voice and all that, but I'm not going to let a little sickness slow down rolling out some content that I really feel heavy on my heart is critical for us to embrace. And I have a few really close friends that are avid studiers. I mean, study, and I am like that as well. I love reading, I love studying. And one of the things we discuss frequently is some people study for confirmation, and some people study for transformation. And I'm hoping that you're taking this time in this Man Maker Show, which is all about making men, right? So to make something means it's not already. So we need to be listening, and I really hope that you are listening for a transformation, not a confirmation, right? Bias confirmation is probably one of the leading issues in our world today. It's what's led to the polarizing of Republicans and Democrats, conservatives and liberals, is that everything around us feeds a confirmation that we're right. And if you're on the left side, right, you listen to the news channels and your friends and your feeds and your content all supports why you're right. And if you're on the right side of the equation, then everything feeds and endorses and confirms. And in fact, it goes so far that we're almost judged if we have friends on either side. And I take great pride in the fact that I have liberal friends. I have friends that don't believe in God. I have friends that vote democratically. I have friends that believe in abortion, right? Things that I am opposed to, but I'm not opposed to them. I mean, if we all have to think and believe the same thing, that's the problem with our world. I don't think people care what you know until they know that you care. And so you're never going to change someone's belief system by just pounding your bias confirmation on them, right? At the same time, we're never going to change if all we do is search for bias confirmation. If you listen to this message to go, yeah, I know, yeah, check, yep, got that, good point. It's not a waste of time, but it's close to a waste of time because nobody wants to hang around the most intelligent person. We want to hang around transformative people. We want to be around people that make complex ideas seem rather simple. We want to be around people that can communicate their message without shooting the recipient of the message. And I hope that I'm able to do that. I hope I communicate in that way. And I would guess sometimes I don't, right? I can get very stubborn. I can get very hard-headed on things. And sometimes I should apologize for that. And sometimes I don't need to apologize for that because sometimes you got to fight for things. Political correctness has taken the fight out of most men and women for that matter. And that's a bit of an issue. But we won't go down that road here tonight. But I am going to talk about a super sensitive subject with you today. And I really hope that you will circle the ones that you're not good at, right? That you'll make a note and get with your mentors and get with your counselors, your COL, your council leaders around you that will challenge you to think differently than you do now. And the reason I say that is because I think that's where we have breakthrough. It's change, right? If we had to break through something, I suppose you could get through things by just continuing to pound on it, but maybe you want to change directions a little bit. Maybe you want to change tact a little bit. Maybe you want to change the way you're thinking or going about things in order to have breakthrough. And so I'm going to talk to you about the 6 silent killers of a marriage. And maybe the marriage word I could expand out because a lot of you aren't married, but let's just say the 6 silent killers of relationships. This could be with your brothers or sisters, right? I have 2 brothers and a sister, and we all think very independently. I have extreme left, and I have far right, and I have somewhat in the middle, and we battle. But the nice thing about family is you choose to go, I'm going to focus on what we have in common without tripping over the things that we don't. And as a result, we love each other and honor each other and celebrate each other and mourn each other at the appropriate times of the ups and downs of life. And so all of us have friends and family that we have to be in covenant with. Otherwise, you're a lone wolf, and that's a tactic of the enemy we talked about a few weeks ago, and you are prone to getting picked off, right? And that's the wild kingdom. They take the weak one, they get them away from their herd, and eventually they kill it, right? Isolation kills, and it's the same thing. They still say today the cruelest form of punishment is solitary confinement, right? So we got to be aware of that. And so more than likely, in these 6 things, you're either receiving them or you're giving them. And I need you to think both, right? Most of us, when I go through these things, you will think, yeah, that happens to me. Yeah, that happens to me. But for what purpose does that value? And where do you gain anything from that? Again, it's just bias confirmation why you're a victim. If you want to build a case for a victim, that's easy, right? It's easy. You can do it all the time. What we're looking for is to be the best person, not to have someone make us the best person. And so I would ask you to be patient as you go through this message today so that you can be introspective. And at the same time, hopefully I can give you some tools that if you are receiving this form of some of these killers in your life, that you can learn how to communicate the issue in a way that isn't blaming, but in a way of explaining. And the difference is when someone does something, say, you make me mad, or you did this, so I'm this way. So I justify my action based on what you do. That's not how you approach differences. The way you approach differences is, this is how I feel when this happens. This is how I need to feel or like to feel. How can we arrive there? And I like the definition of love I heard a while back, and it said that a symbol of love is how someone treats the things that you say are very important to you. So if I say to Shelly, I really feel this way when this happens. I don't say you make me feel. I say I feel, right? I'm being vulnerable. I feel a little soft. I don't like doing it. I feel like a real baby. But I need to say, this is how I feel when this happens. I don't like that feeling. Explain how I'd like to feel. And then if she really loves me, which I know she does, then it becomes, because I've been transparent and vulnerable, it becomes her responsibility to listen, receive, and make changes. Now, flip it around, exact same way. When she's that way with me, I need to do that. And the problem is, most of us have these 6 things that happen in our life, and it begins to create great separation. And the first one is the word contempt. I don't know if there's a greater killer. I don't know if there's a greater symbol. In fact, I read the other day when I was researching this message that 90% of the people that suffer from 2 or more of these for an extended period of time, 90% get divorced. Now, I found that there were 4 common problems, styles, philosophies, actions, beliefs, contempt being one of them, that were the most common. But I've added to it because I think they might overlap a little bit. You be the judge of that. But contempt basically says, well, it's the eye rolling, if you will, right? It's the prove it to me. Oh, I've heard this before, right? And, promises are made to activate action, right? Promises aren't just made to get someone off your back. Promises are made to activate action. But if someone makes a promise to do something and you eye roll it, then you deactivate their action because you've stolen the opportunity for them to do something that probably is unusual or awkward or not easy for them, right? That's why they're making a promise to change it. But if you eye roll, then you're basically saying, I don't believe you. And when you do it, I'll believe you. But you've really shot them right in the gut. And so I would ask you to ask you. I see some people that have the worst eye rolling. I had dinner a little while back with some people, and the eye rolling. These people were like mature in their age, like not in their 20s and 30s. I'm talking like mature, and the eye rolling was embarrassing. And I'm like, I have a family member that eye rolls me so hard in front of Shelly, and I'm like, I'm gonna punch you in the nose. Like, do you not? I'm right here. I don't. It's kind of a weird thing. I think another part of contempt is when you talk over them, right? What I mean by that, or they talk over you. You're trying to express your thought, and your partner feels the need to complete your thought. Okay, first of all, if you're the partner, shut up and let them fully express themselves. I'm going to say it roughly because you need to hear it rough, because anybody that talks over someone's rude. If anybody thinks that their thoughts are more important than your partner's thoughts, you're rude. You're missing the entire concept of love. Love is a commitment to consistent action that gives a result that I love you, I respect you, I value. CAR, commitment, action, result. And so if we talk over someone, if we complete their thoughts, if we don't let them, if they have to second guess everything they say because they know you're going to interrupt them, that is contempt. In court, when someone takes over and they're going to hold them in, contempt. Sometimes another form of this is by making them look bad. And this will kind of go into my next topic of criticism. But just as we move into point 2, I think we could say that contempt is thinking that putting someone else down makes you look stronger. And I think eye rolling is one of these things like, oh, can you believe it? Or you've seen it, right? I don't know if you felt it. I don't know if you experienced it, but you have certainly seen it out there. And maybe you think, it's just funny. It's haha, what a joke. It's not a joke. I believe in every joke, there's a little bit of truth. And so you have to evaluate, what are you trying to communicate? And do you want to communicate contempt? Because if you do, you're probably going to get divorced. Because no one's going to live like that. No one's going to put up with that. And eventually it leads to something much greater. And I think that that's where the criticism criticism is what I would call a character assassination. Right? Criticism is critical of their nature. Right? At least that's what I'm going to go with. You can have variations of explanations. But when we are critical of someone, we're saying things like, you're lazy, or you never do this, or you always do this. They're basically attacks of their character. Character is defined, a definition I like, is the things you think and do when no one knows what you're thinking and doing. It's the internal compass and code. And someone says you're never, or you're always, or couldn't you do this, and they start attacking your character with criticism. It's devastating. It's gut-wrenching. And so it is very important that when you communicate, you don't assault their character. You don't say you are, or you are always, or you never. You say, if there's an issue, you'd say something along the lines of, could you help me with this? Or I would greatly value if you would do this. Or my love language is acts of service, and if you could help me with this, I would feel really loved. And that what a sappy things to say, but what is your goal? Your goal is an awesome, bonded, loving, nourishing, celebratory relationship, not survival and picking on each other. I think criticism is oftentimes done not only in private when it really hurts, but it hurts even more when it's in public. You do it in front of friends or relatives and you criticize them. It's unbelievable how many people I know that like to share the failures of their partner, their kids, their family, as an example in something they're teaching. And I don't know, gosh, I'm gonna chalk it up to ignorance, but to me it's cruelty, right? I sure as heck do not want Shelly bringing up my failures as a teaching point. I don't need her using me. Use anything you want else out there. Our stuff is our stuff, and we're working it together. But if you're going to publicly acknowledge my failure as an attempt to make a point, you're destroying your marriage. You think you're teaching, you think you're being transparent, but in reality, you're absolutely gutting them in front publicly, and they gotta kind of go. I mean, when that happens to me, like I read some blog comments the other day, and someone was hammering me on some of these messages, and I'm like, whoa. I had to chalk it up like hurting people hurt people because I didn't know them and who they were. But I mean, I've dealt with this for 15 years since I failed in my marriage. People just call me I'm a failed man, and like I'm supposed to live as a failure because I failed. And it's just ridiculous. But nonetheless, people still want to hurt. And so typically when someone's doing this, it's because they're hurting themselves. They're trying to find a way to make themselves feel better. And so it leads to us kind of keeping a track. Well, you've done this 6 times. You've done this 8 times. And this criticism of this is the 9th time or this is the 3rd time. Unfortunately, this is a fail point of mine. I'm a counter, right? And I feel like if I count, if I can give you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 examples, then I've built a case and you have to believe me. And what I really do is I build a case for I'm an ass because I've been holding all these memories of all these failures and I'm going to continue to remind you of them to make you feel bad so you don't do it again. What a terrible, terrible strategy to make someone change behavior by making them feel worse. That is so backwards, it's not even funny. People don't change because they feel terrible. They change because they feel powerful. They change because they feel loved and valued. They change because you see the good and they grow into the goodness. I've told people for years, I believe that a large part of my success in my business and my companies was because someone said I was amazing, that I could do it. And I didn't believe I could, and I grew into the shoes that they placed on my feet. That they place an identity by speaking it over me. When they say a positive spoken word attracts the opportunity for fulfillment. When prophetic things are spoken over you, when positive words are spoken, when love is spoken over you, it draws the opportunity for change. I think the 3rd silent killer is defensiveness. This is usually a result of a lower identity, right? And which we would call a lower self-image. But no one likes that word. So I like the term lower identity because you don't know how awesome you are. And so you really struggle with any form of criticism. Anytime anybody brings anything, you kind of have to get defensive because you feel if you acknowledge what they're saying that you've done that hurts them or is wrong or needs work, that it lowers your identity. It lowers your self-image. And when the reality is, it is where it is, and it's only going to go up if you recognize if it's true and make adjustments. But if you defend everything or you blame everything, you're never going to get any better. And the whole intent of having communication in a relationship is to grow deeper together, to have a better relationship of life and love and celebration, things we talk about. But if every time something's brought up, you say, yeah, well, yeah, that's because, and it's like the person that shared with you was getting vulnerable about something that bothers them. You get defensive, and now they have to defend it. Now they got point. Versus saying, "Wow, thanks for sharing that with me. I'm gonna take that to heart. Can you give me a broader explanation of why you feel that or why you see that? Can you give me some examples to help me have a clearer understanding? Because I think I learn better if you can explain to me in more details. Versus, yeah. Well, here's what I'm doing, or I know that already. It's a real common thing. Or blaming your actions. If you weren't this way, then I wouldn't be this way. I've heard people say that point blank. Well, if you weren't that way, then we wouldn't have this problem, or I wouldn't be doing this if you weren't that way. And I about fall out of my chair when I hear that, because that means they don't own any of their own faults, struggles. It's your fault. It's my dad's fault. It's my mom's fault. It's my coach's fault. It's my spouse's fault. My kid's fault. It can't be my fault. Now, how in the world are you ever going to change if you don't look at your own habits? How am I going to lose weight if I don't change what I eat? I don't change my exercise, right? I can't blame someone else for making fat food. I can't blame someone else for making high carbohydrates. I can't blame it. I have to put it in my mouth. And it's the same thing with any action, right? If we don't own it, well, how are we going to grow and learn and change? And I think the other side of that is when someone comes to us with something that's bothering them, and our defensive mechanism kicks in, this is such a bad one. We seem to take this moment to say, yeah, well, now we're on the subject. Let me tell you all the areas you screw up. And I'm just going to tell you that is painfully wrong. First of all, what it's saying is, I didn't hear what you said. I didn't hear what you brought. So you're no longer a safe person because I'm just going to get defensive. And now I'm going to bring up all these things. Shelly and I have an agreement. And I'm kind of the talker. She's kind of the less talker, right? So I like to bring things up. And when I do, we have a rule. You can't bring up things about me until another time. Why? Because we're dealing with this issue. I've had the courage to bring it up. I don't want to bring it up. But if it's bugging me, let's talk about it. You can't attack me. If there's things, which there has to be, that I'm doing that are bothering you, then bring them up. Not then. Let's deal with this thing here. And then a day later, an hour later, a dinner later, a lunch later, a walk later, a hug later, say, can I have a conversation with you about a few things that are happening that I'm struggling with personally, that I'd like to have a conversation with you. I'm not blaming you. This isn't a comeback for what happened earlier today. I would just like some opportunity to air some things. Guys, if you could learn this without getting defensive, you will radically change your life. You will radically change your marriage. Because now you place yourself in a position where, as a recipient of criticism, you're a safe person. Like if I go to someone and I talk about a behavior, I have a really good friend of mine. I'm going to use his name because I'm going to say this in a positive context. His name's Ryan. And I love this kid. And he's not a kid. He's a grown man, but he's a young man, young family. And when I bring things to him that are things that I'd like to see him be better at or change, or things that don't honor the truth about him, and usually it's just simple little things. I mean, he's an awesome guy. There are no character flaws. They're just things like personality things or disconnect things or silent things, or because his self-image is been beat up by family a little bit. He takes everything with such a sense of gratitude that he is a safe person for me to have a conversation with. He's also a safe person that I can bare my soul to, because I know if he can handle criticism of him, then he's going to be gentle in sharing criticism with me. He becomes very safe. And that's crucial in developing a strong marriage, a brotherhood, a sisterhood, or whatever it is you're working through. You've got to get rid of that defensiveness and that blaming and that let me take this opportunity now you've talked to me and let me talk to you. The fourth one is what I'll call silent treatment, right? And I don't think there's any people that don't know what that means, but there's lots of different versions of it. And the most common one is, what's wrong? Nothing. What's wrong? Nothing. It's obviously something's wrong. Yeah, well, I don't want to talk about it. And so, this is this, I'm supposed to read your mind time of life. And they say things like, well, we've been together for 10 years. You should know by now. And now that may be true, but may be true doesn't mean it is true. And just because it is true, it doesn't mean that you can't explain it again. Well, this is the 15th time. Counter. Yeah, well, do you love me? Yes. Are we committed to covenant of getting stronger? Are we committed to our connection? Yes. Well, then, whether it's 15 or 500, let's talk about it. And let's get it right this time. But if we're going to move into silent treatment, stonewall them, then we can't start dealing with the layers of the issue, because typically when someone's quiet, it's because they've been talked over. If someone's quiet, it's because they've been told through the partner's action or family actions that you don't matter, that you don't have a voice, that it's not valued. I don't know if there's a greater insult you give to your children or your spouse than your thoughts don't matter. And no matter what they are, I'm going to justify why I do. You cannot justify. It doesn't work. You might feel better, like, haha, swept that one on the carpet, I dealt with that. But the other person feels completely neglected, completely unheard, unvalued, and you've just wrecked the car. You didn't stay consistent to that commitment of action that creates that result. Some people are scared to be honest because they've been violently dealt with. They've been screamed at, swore at, yelled at. Or maybe, like my issue, Like, I used to get big. I get ugly. Now, I never get physical, but I get loud and I get vulgar and I would use aggressive tone, right? And I'm not a small guy, so I can get all, and that was an intimidation factor. But in reality, what it was a low self-image way of fighting. And it is completely not effective. So learning how to talk through your stuff. This is how you present. I am in covenant with developing commitment. I mean, not commitment, connection. I'm in covenant with protecting and developing connection. This matters to me. I am not going to retreat. I am not going to withdraw. Well, I don't know what to say. Then start with something. I don't know what to say. It feels like this. It feels like that. Now, the partner needs to stop saying it for him, needs to stop cutting him off, needs to give them the 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 1 hour, 4 hours, a weekend, whatever it takes for them to finally articulate what it is they're feeling. You have to exercise massive patience. I have a 6-year-old daughter, and sometimes she tries to say something, and then dad. So I was wondering. So dad, I was wondering. And I'm like, what do you want to ask me, honey? Now, either I've made her feel insecure and like speed it up because I'm in a hurry all the time, or her brain's going so fast she can't get all the thoughts into words and spread them out as fast as I would like. So I got to go, okay, take your time. Take a breath. What is it, honey? And if I don't do that, then I make her afraid. And I think that's something I need to work on. In fact, Shelley's mentioned that to me the other day. It's kind of like sometimes I get intimidated when we talk. I'm like, okay, thank you. Thank you for telling me that, because if you can't be free to communicate with me at the pace you need, then we're not going to communicate and nothing's going to get done right. I am in covenant with creating deep connection. So this is how we present that I'm a safe person for you to be transparent with. Okay, sake of time. The 5th one, competing. I have seen some marriages where they compete, and I know it's kind of fun. Like, who's in the gym? Who does more sit-ups? Whatever. But, there's a place for competition, right? I don't know what it is, but sports is an obvious place. But your marriage is not one of them. Who's the dog like more, right? Who do the kids run to when they're hurting, right? Who is the most this or that in your house? And I think it's a terrible thing. I saw my pastor sent me this image today. I have it on my other phone here, and I wish you could see it. Maybe you can find this someday. It's just fantastic. But effectively, what it is it's a husband and wife. They each have a chisel, and they're chiseling on each other, and they're breaking off. So the woman's chiseling the man, and she's helping him break off greed, title, money, porn, sports, fancy looks, materialism. She's working on him. She's completing him, not competing with him. Not doing it through criticism or condemnation or off square marks or third party talking over here and hoping that the target lands over here. I've said for years that hinting is the most cowardly form of leadership. I used to do a lot of public speaking. If I was at a beef with someone and I would talk to this group over here about a thing, really hoping this person heard it, that's so cowardly. And I read that, I go, I'm never going to do it again. Now, hopefully I haven't. But the ideal do is you got an issue, get the rifle out and talk directly and have communication, not shotgun the crowd and hope one person gets hit. You've got to learn to be in a place where you are completing. And he is chiseling on her, and the things that were falling off her was like the crown, the perfect looks, the fancy shoes, the fancy martini lemon drop glass, right? The titles. Because when you are everything for each other, you don't need sports, money, title, porn, gambling, anything to be the man. You are complete in your identity with your loving father, and you are complete in your identity with your spouse. And if this is your buddy, your best buddy, and you can have this kind of relationship to where you help chisel crap off their body as you see it, I have a very dear friend that I feel like I'm always chiseling on him a little bit. And I feel bad, but I love him so much that I don't want to see him make mistakes that I've made. And so I guarantee sometimes he's tired of me chiseling on him. So oftentimes I just hold back. I don't say anything until it's the second or third time. Then I'll say, hey, bro, let's have a cup of coffee. Let's talk about something. And we go through it. And that's hard. It's hard to chisel on someone you love because you just want to tell them how awesome they are, because they are. And if all you do is chisel on someone, then you're going to end up creating this person that second guesses himself all the time. So the idea is to be their number one fan, to encourage them. Don't embarrass them. Don't talk about their failures publicly. Don't use them as examples of things wrong. If you need to use any example of anything is wrong, only use yourself. Only use yourself. Nobody's perfect, but just set as a standard. And if it's something that's amazing and awesome, then always use somebody else. Simple, great tactic, and will create great connection in your relationship, specifically the ones at home. Encourage them. Make them better. I see some people that are still competing to be better than their spouse. I still see some people that are competing to be better than their best bro. I got a relatively new buddy in my life, and we talk a lot. And what's cool about having a super solid self-image bro is that you don't have to compete. You complete. We're not trying to be better than the other person. We're just trying to make the other person better and be better for each other. And I think that's what everybody seeks for. And that's what makes a great football team, baseball team, basketball team, is everybody's trying to make everybody around them better. The last silent killer that I would share with you is lost belief. And I don't know if this one's recoverable. It's recoverable if you make a choice to choose to believe by faith than by previous action. By that I mean, a lot of times people stop believing in someone because they failed so many times. I have a dear friend of mine that struggled mightily with alcohol. I mean, like bad and horrible failures. And I had to get to a point where I'm going to say, I don't believe you're going to change and you're out. Or I needed to continue to face them and say, I believe in you. I'm upset. I'm angry, but I love you. And I see you in greatness. And I'm never going to give up. Now, I'm happy to say that person is really doing well and is in strong sobriety. And I told him just the other day, I said, look, I need you to know, no matter what happens, I hope you never, ever have that issue again. But if you do, don't you dare let shame keep you from coming to me. I will be your staff landing. I will probably kick your ass. I will probably be upset, but I will love you back to health. I will love you back to God's presence. I will love you back to recovery, because I'm not interested in the long-term tale of being mad at him forever. We're going to find a solution. We're going to work our way through this, and we're going to continue to create connection. I wish I was a pro at this, but I'm not. But I'm aware of it, because in any relationship with my kids, with my spouse, with my buddies, we have to be in that mode where we believe in them. Please don't ever give up on your spouse, on your wife, on your husband. Believe in them. Well, they've said this 10 times, so it's a little hard to believe. Come on, really? This is your partner. This is someone you're in covenant with, someone you love. Well, I'll believe when I see it. Then you're probably never going to see it. Faith begins at the end of belief. You can't prove it. That's where faith is. Love operates in the realm of faith. It means I'm going to believe. Even though the evidence is to the contrary, I'm going to believe in that miracle. I'm going to believe in that change. Because hope keeps me going. If I lose hope, I've lost my zest for life. And in a relationship, whether it be them wanting to start a business, whether it be them wanting to landscape the backyard, I can't even tell you how many times I've told Shelly, I'm going to weigh 190 pounds. I'm going to lose this 30 pounds. We'll see. Last time I weighed, it was Chosen was born. So 7 years now, I've been promising, absolutely in covenant, to lose 30 pounds. And guess what? I just recently started again. And you know what Shelly said? I believe in you, honey. I'll do it with you. I can't wait. This is going to be fun. And how many times I've promised to do this and I have failed? It's ridiculous. But now, here I go again. And the fact that she believes me is so encouraging. But if she doubted me or rolled her eyes or criticized me, I'll be honest with you, I'll be like, screw that. No, I don't want to have donuts anyways. I love ice cream. Give me my pasta. I wouldn't lose the weight. But her belief inspires me to make my covenant come reality. But the eye rolling or the lack of belief, or I don't really know if I believe anymore. Guys, I hate to say, contempt, criticism, defensiveness, where's my list? Silent treatment, comparing or competing, if you will, and lack of belief. If two of those exist, you got big problems. And I say big problems because I mean it. If you got 3 or 4 of those, you got to go to work. No excuses, no exceptions. You need to go to work. If you're watching this video or you listen to this podcast, I would hope that you're a friend of mine, which means I care for you. And it would be wrong of me to say, well, just hang in there. It won't. You won't hang in there. How do I know? Because I've been down this road. I've been through the pain of a failed marriage. I've been through the pain of feeling these things coming at me. And I've experienced the pain on their face of me being that to them. I know I'm right. And if 2 of these exist, you need to get to work. If 3 or 4 exist, you better become a savage about it. And you better make a list, tape it to your refrigerator, get some help, dig in, know that you can win, know that you can overcome. Because if you don't, you got a 90% shot, according to statistics, of not making it. And if you make it, how good is a marriage if you're beating the crap out of each other all the time? No bueno. So I think it's safe to say, man, we're at war. And one of those wars, one of those many wars, is relationships. Because the enemy knows if he can separate us from relationships, then he can destroy us. But if we stay in covenant with people, if we stay in community, if we stay locked in with each other, that will hold us accountable to a higher standard, then we're stronger together. 1 pencil, I can snap it. 400 pencils, probably can't break it. Can't rip a phone book, but I can rip a piece of paper in the phone book, no problem. Stronger together, we have a greater future. And these 6 things are life-altering. Please take them seriously. I love you. I can't wait to hear more of your comments about where you're going, how you're making changes. Write them down. Get to work on them. Share them. Take these 6 things and talk to each other about it. Ask each other, am I this way? Am I this way? Am I this? Which of these 6 am I? Which of these 6 are you? I mean, literally, both of you have these conversations. Like, I would like to have this conversation with my 3, 4 best buds right now. And I probably will when I get home. So, and I've already talked about it because half these notes are hers. I love you. I want you to win. Bradley Wolgamott, Man Maker Show. Let's keep going. Dig deep. Keep doing the excavating, boys. You're on your way. All right. Man Maker, out.